Many thanks for making time to join me on the marketplace today. Welcome back. Now, CEO of car dealership Erata Motors, Eddie Kusi Ankuma, has charged the government to pay road contractors to make the economy more liquid. He's of the view that when contractors hold more cash, every sector of the economy is affected positively, including the ordinary petty trader. Eddie Ankuma thinks the economy is sluggish for now, making living conditions unbearable for the ordinary Ghanaian. He was speaking in an interview with Joy Business on the back of the automobile bill, which was currently launched by the Trade Minister earlier this week.
I must be honest with you, I think sales has dropped significantly because everybody's complaining that there's no money in the system, We're expecting that at least this year to the end of the year, things will happen for things to improve. But people are complaining about monies that are not in the system. But I think the reason is from the banks that people has money, fixed deposits and so forth, that they cannot get it. People has their own money, but they cannot have the chance of holding their money. That is the problem why we don't have money in the system. And also, the contractors who are complaining that they have not been paid, even they have not been paid. That one is a factor too, because they are the people who paid, who, when they get their money circulate to everywhere. The granule seller, the kenke seller, the car dealer, the oil dealer, the battery seller, everybody will get his or her share. So if you are not paying them, then it's going to be difficult.
So will the passage of the automotive bill give many prospective vehicle owners an opportunity to afford newer vehicles, or they will still go in for second-hand cars? Freduho has been engaging some stakeholders in this development.
Are you thinking of buying a brand new car in the coming days, or you are thinking of getting a second-hand car? What really informs your preference for a car?
People who hold the perception about showroom cars being very expensive may have to clear their doubts. According to the marketing manager of Toyota Ghana Motorway branch, Jerry Opoku, showroom cars are relatively affordable considering the warranty and services that come with it.
If you can afford a brand new car, it's always better to buy a brand new car, because in this case, there are certain advantages you get when you buy a brand new car. First and foremost, you have warranty coverage on the vehicle for a certain period or for over a certain mileage. For Toyota Ghana, it's 3 years or 100,000 kilometers, which means you can drive your car for 3 years or 100,000 kilometers and not be really worried about major maintenance on your vehicle, because Toyota will cover those major maintenances when they occur. Those are the unforeseen, what do you call it, repairs that will come after you buy the vehicle. So it's always better to buy a brand new vehicle. The second thing that you can also benefit will be low service cost, because when you buy a brand new vehicle, you only stick to the regular scheduled maintenance for your vehicles. There's no unforeseen expenses like major breakdowns that you have to actually pay for. When you buy a brand new car, you don't get all these. You get clean vehicles, less noise, no stains, no funny smells in your vehicles. So all these are advantages that you get from buying a brand new vehicle as compared to a used vehicle.
However, CEO of Erata Motors, Eddie Kusi Ankuma, says he will still choose second-hand cars over brand new cars, stating that buying a brand new showroom constitutes a waste of resources.
I know there are a lot of people who cannot afford buying new cars, so they will still buy our old cars, and even not all the companies that will come here to assemble car here, 30,000, 35, 45, you can get a nice car and solid. And the secret about us is that when you buy a car from here, even though the car is a used car, we make sure the car that you're going out with has a brand new battery, the car is servicing, we change your brake pad for you, we make sure your air conditioning works, everything is perfect on the car, it's no noise.
Comparatively, we've been to the showroom where you've seen brand new cars. Here we are at the Erata Motors garage, where you are seeing second-hand cars. Which of them will you go for? It depends on your budget. With me, Fred Duho, for Joy Business.
And away from that, the suspension of cocoa buying firm PBC from trading on the Ghana Stock Exchange has reignited the debate on requirements placed on companies that opt to go public or list on the local bourse. Financial consultant and CEO of Trust Consult Limited, Charles Mensah, supports the view that the action by the regulator bolsters confidence and sends the right signals to investors. Speaking on the business edition of PM Express, Charles Mensah was also of the view the largest state shareholders should sell off their shares and allow more individual investors to participate after the suspension is lifted.
Putting your house in order, it's a very sure way for growth in your business profitability. When you go to the stock market, there's a headmaster somewhere tracking your financials, tracking your corporate governance, and even tracking your management and the returns. Because the share price reflects the performance of the business. And to have a reflection, you have to make sure that the numbers are being churned out and churned out right. So companies, anytime you take a decision that you're going to a stock market, it needs to mean that you are ready. So, and therefore, anytime you want to raise additional money, because your house is in order, you don't have to do too many communication. You don't have to talk. Just show a profitability in the past and a dividend policy in the past. And therefore, if I need additional equity from potential investors or even from existing investors, they will invest without asking questions because I've been cleaned over the years and it's there. So that's where the stock market becomes very good. Now, with this big stick approach that the stock market have done, it's also sent a signal that if I'm listed and I don't put my house in order and I try to pussyfoot, instead of taking a certain decision, I suspend it and things like that, I will be suspended, and that can also affect the fortunes of the business. So it sends a very good signal to all and sundry. If this company was not listed, it would have been rested within a few individuals within the board or within a thing. The next minute, tomorrow the business is gone. But this is giving a certain signal. We all have read it, we all have seen where they borrowed, we all have seen where the money went, and we are now making some recommendation as to what can be done. It's going to increase the shareholders' value and to help everybody. Fortunately, 75% shares for the two sides. It's very good, but I would recommend that the SNIT and the government itself should see, restructure it, and at the point and also offload some of their shares.
Meanwhile, Charles Mensah says PBC's financial challenges have been worsened by some loans the cocoa buying company took in the past. He advised managers of the institution to look for innovative ways to deal with the situation to help put PBC back on a sound footing. The Ghana Stock Exchange suspended the listing status of PBC for several reasons, including failure to publish financial results for 2018.
They've borrowed from short-term, medium-term to long-term. And therefore, whatever is earned as profit, apart from doing the direct operational expenses, has to go through the servicing of the debt. So if you look even through their financials, you will notice that there's a gross profit and there's a growth in the gross profit. It is below the gross profit level that is a huge increase, largely from the expenses themselves of the company, and also the expenses to do with servicing of the finance costs. And we're talking huge sums of money here. And once you have that, the shareholders, coming back to the corporate governance, the shareholders themselves and the directors ought to have a strategic section to look at what is it that we have to do to move away from working to service the debt. Because working to service the debt, there will be a time that you can't even service the debt because the cash will not be good enough to even pay your direct expenses, let alone pay the debt holders. Now, if you're not paying the debt holders, that means you are missing it. More especially if such debt were listed on the stock market and you can't meet it. You create more problem for the company and for the market. Because bond markets, people are supposed to honor their debt as and when they fall due. Where they cannot meet it, they have to probably raise additional money again, additional bond again to service the debt. But when you go through their numbers, I think they over-leveraged. Short, medium, and long term.
And over-leverage means they borrowed a lot.
Too much. They borrowed to do. But when you look at it critically, I think along the line, either they tried to diversify instead of staying in the cocoa business, so they tried to go to other areas.
Let's turn attention to energy matters now. The 470 megawatt Kara-Deniz power ship Osman Khan, operated by Car Power Ship Ghana Company Limited, has been ushered to its new location at the Western Naval Command at Sekondi in the Western region this morning. The relocation is in line with government's strategic policy for the power ship to utilize natural gas from the Western Enclave. The power ship was moored to its jetty within the Naval Command, where it will be connected to a 10-kilometer marine and onshore gas pipelines from the metering station of the Ghana National Gas Company. 7 kilometers of the pipeline is onshore, with the remaining 3 kilometers offshore. After it settles, the power ship will continue to use heavy fuel oil, or HFO, until the middle of November 2019, when it will be connected to the natural gas. According to the managing director of Car Power Ship Volkan Buyobaika, it will require 90 million standard cubic feet of gas daily. So the managing director of Car Power Ship Volkan Buyobaika has been speaking to the media after the vessel berthed in Takoradi. He assured the power ship is expected to be hooked onto the national grid in 15 days.
Today we are here, as you see, to achieve the final stage of the big move, we say, the relocation of 470 megawatt power ship to the Sekondi naval base. It is for sure, it's very important for the energy sector recovery program of Ghana in order to utilize the Sankofa gas in Sekondi. At the first stage of the relocation, we have managed the successful decommissioning of the power ship yesterday, and after a successful voyage to Sekondi this morning, our technical crew managed a very successful mooring maneuver, and then now we are ready to tie the power ship over there. This afternoon we will commence the connection of the transmission lines, which will enable us to evacuate electricity into the national grid. We are looking at 15 more days to get back to work to generate electricity. But of course, we will do our best to shorten the period of outage in order to support the national grid. Firstly, gas is a much more environmental friend fuel than HFO. Second, it is also very efficient, and it will enable Ghana to save millions of dollars every month as compared to HFO, and also due to some contractual arrangements of the government with the gas company and car power ship with the government, it's going to make the sector much more efficient, cost efficient, and technically operational.
Meanwhile, Executive Director of the Kumasi Institute of Energy and Environment, KIDE, Ishmael Ejikumhene, says the relocation of the 470 megawatt car power barge to Sekondi will definitely have a toll on its operation costs. So far, the Ghana National Grid Company Limited, GRIDCO, has assured the public that the relocation of the car power barge to Sekondi will not have any adverse impact on power supply. Speaking to Joy Business, Ishmael Ejikumhene argues that the high cost of operations could have a great toll on overall costs.
This reduces the cost of generation by something in the region of 35 and 40% in terms of fuel savings. So yes, it's going to affect the running costs of car power, which is running on HFO now. So it's going to run on Sankofa, but it's also going to help us find some outlet for the stranded gas from Sankofa, which is also take or pay. So yeah, it ought to have happened last year. It was part of when the PRC was setting tariff. The assumption was that car power was going to run on gas. So the fuel allocation for fuel was actually for gas, not for HFO, and it didn't move. Beginning of this year, it was supposed to have moved. It hadn't moved. So I know in this tariff they had assumed that for half of the year HFO will be used, and for the rest of the year gas. So it's actually going to help reduce the running cost of car power.
Let's also stay in energy. The vice chairman of the LPG Marketing Association, Gabriel Kumi, is projecting a less than 15% usage of LPG should the taxes imposed on the products not be removed. He said between 2005 and 2015, LPG usage rose to 16.16%, but as a result of numerous taxes imposed on the products in 2016, the usage has been stagnant till date.
Kumi raised this concern in a remark on behalf of the association at the NPA CRM stakeholder engagement on the next phase on the cylinder recirculation model in Tamale. He charged Ghanaians to launch a campaign to get government scrap the taxes on LPG in the next budget.
If we don't do anything about the price and it's maintained at where it is now, our projection is that by the year 2030, LPG consumption in Ghana will come to less than 15%. If the price is kept at where it is today. Globally, the LPG consumption is on the rise. Globally, it's not a full of choice. But at present, in Ghana, LPG consumption has stagnated. People are not able to fill the cylinders. We go to an LPG station.
Enough of energy now, let's do agriculture. The School of Agriculture at the University of Cape Coast has developed a new technology that detects fake rice sold on various markets. The technology can also deal with fraudulent practices in the production and sale of rice, as well as authenticates the integrity of food across Africa. At a conference to outdoor the device, researchers intimated that many fraudulent food-related activities that impede productivity with its related effects on the health of consumers could be controlled with this new technology. Let's hear more from Richard Kwadunyako's report.
The awareness of food fraud, according to the researchers, is very limited in Ghana and Africa. Thus, has given many people the opportunity to dupe unsuspecting consumers. One could find plastic rice and rice from another country packaged as made in Ghana rice and vice versa on the market. With a new technology, the particles of rice are placed on the device while the mobile phone is used to check its authenticity. Lead researcher of the project, Dr. Ernestay, tells JoyNews after a conference on food fraud, the technology is quite easy to use and users of mobile phones could easily check the authenticity of the rice they are buying or are in their possession. The market, he reveals, is flooded with many substandard and low-quality rice, and the technology, he is convinced, will help assuage the fears of consumers.
They sell low standard quality rice as high standard quality rice. And we all heard the story when plastic rice issue became a case and we were all afraid to even consume rice. This was when Ghana, through the School of Agriculture, myself, we collaborated with Queen's University Global Institute of Food Safety to address this challenge head on, but starting from Ghana. We know Ghana is a gateway to Africa, so if we start from Ghana, it will go to other African countries. You just download the app, but we want to go beyond, let's say, using the Android version and using the handheld device. We want to now approach mobile phone technology people so that we put the scanner in the phone, because you rightly know that every phone has a camera now.
Queen's University's Professor Chris Elliott, a stalwart in food fraud and authenticity, believes the technology is a breakthrough not only for Ghana and Africa, but for the world.
I find that where you eat local food, it's going to be of higher quality, it's going to be safer, and also less prone to fraud. Because imported food, I will tell you, it can come from any part of the world. It might have been stored away for years before it got here. So always think about, can I buy local? Do I know where it's come from? And if the answer is yes, that's what I would recommend.
Dean of the School of Agric at the University of Cape Coast, Professor Elvis Asaribediakon, is hopeful their collaboration with the Queen's University will see the establishment of a Center of Excellence for Food Fraud in Africa at the University of Cape Coast. Professor Asaribediakon says the School of Agric at the University of Cape Coast will liaise with the relevant state authorities like the Ghana Standards Authority, the Food and Drugs Authority, and other national regulatory bodies that are responsible for assessing the quality and authenticity of food in the country. Some rice farmers who were at the conference spoke to JoyNews.
Farmers in Ghana, we are doing our best to produce the best rice in the world. But unhealthy competition is actually not helping. Because people will take some inferior rice, try to work around it, make it appear as if it is good, sell it at a higher price. So that when you are selling the quality rice, people are complaining about the price because someone is doing something bad, but making it appear as if it is of high quality. So if you're going to check this fraud out, it's going to help farmers because we know that the world over, we are among the best producers of the best rice in the world.
This university achieved those feats with the support of the Queen's University in UK, a pioneer university that researches into food fraud and authenticity. Richard Kwejonya-Akon, Joy News, Cape Coast.
So talking about technology, government has been urged to harness potential of the youth and give them the requisite empowerment in technology to make them agents who will in turn impact the economy. This, the country director of Oracle Ghana, Franklin Asari, says will enable the youth to leverage the wealth and opportunities the new age of big data and technology afford. He spoke with Inshra Ado in a new episode of the Executive Lounge, which airs this weekend. Let's have an excerpt now.
I think it's an opportunity because the metrics we have as far as these young people are concerned, it's not anywhere else in the world. The Europeans are not having babies. We are 2, 3 to most families. We just need to harness them right. I think that the day and age where we went to school, worked for 1 or 2 employers and retired, those days are over. I think we need to prepare the young people to go to school, learn a lot of IT, become IT literate, and then work towards producing or making products that are internet products and selling them, working for themselves.
Wow.
This is the new age in which we live. Because the days of having a job, sure, they are over. By the way, job means just over broke.
There's very little comfort in that space.
Absolutely, you're not going to make it. So if we want to create the Facebooks of life, the Amazons of life, if you look at the top 10 richest people in the world, they are all in this space. If you look at the fact that Amazon now has even taken over Facebook, that should tell you that there's a power in the use of systems. Look at Google.
Very interesting comments there. You can watch the full episode of The Best Minds on the Executive Lounge this Saturday at 6 p.m. on the Joy News channel. It's on Multi-TV and channel 421 on DSTV with a repeat broadcast on Sundays at 9:30 p.m. And on that note, we wrap up this afternoon's edition of The Marketplace. It's been so great having you on board the whole of this week on Marketplace. Thank you very much for watching. Of course, do join me again same time next Monday for more interesting developments in the world of business. Have a great weekend and good afternoon.